Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's explainer is literally taking us on a field trip across East Asia. We're going to look really closely at how different countries set the rules for their people and their money. It's an absolutely fascinating region because the countries here do things so differently from one another. All right, let's dive right into this.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at who is in charge, the economy game rules, resources powering up, two Koreas, two economies, Japan and trade power, and finally, the big takeaways.
All right, part one. Who is in charge?
So, in several East Asian countries like China and North Korea, the government is what we call an autocracy. Basically, this means unelected communist leaders control the policies, and citizens don't vote them in. Imagine you're playing a game, right? But one person gets to be the referee forever, and you never, ever get to vote for a new one. That's kind of how an autocracy works. The government makes the ultimate policy decisions for everyone.
This brilliantly illustrates what that looks like on the ground. Take a look at these manufacturing workers in China. Now, even though workers like these are helping their economy grow incredibly fast, they still live under an autocracy. The government appoints the officials and makes the ultimate rules. The everyday citizens, well, they don't really have a voice in choosing those leaders.
Moving on to part two, the economy game rules.
Okay, so there are two main ways to play this economic game. First, think of a command economy like a super strict school cafeteria. The principal decides exactly what you eat, how much it costs, who cooks it, the whole shebang. The government makes all the choices. On the other hand, a mixed economy, that's more like a giant, bustling food court. You have the total freedom to choose what you want to buy, and businesses can choose what to sell. The markets and regular people are the ones calling the shots. If we actually line these economic systems up on a spectrum, it makes a lot of sense. Way over on the far left, you've got North Korea's strict command economy. The government controls pretty much everything. If you slide a bit to the right, there's China. It's a command economy, but lately they've started letting people make a few more choices. Then, all the way over on the right, you'll see Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. They have mixed economies that are totally market-driven. Basically, food court rules apply.
Section 3. Resources. Powering up.
Before we go further, let's make sure we've got two important keywords locked down. First is reliant, which just means dependent on something. Like, a baby is reliant on its parents. The second word is hydroelectric power. This is electricity generated by water-driven turbines. See, some countries in East Asia sit on massive deposits of coal for their energy, but others are heavily reliant on hydroelectric power. They literally use the strong force of moving water in rivers to generate their electricity. Pretty cool, right?
To put that into perspective, North Korea is highly reliant on hydroelectric power. It actually makes up 53% of their electricity sources. The other 47% comes from fossil fuels like coal. Because they don't have a ton of other options to power up their grid, that moving water is absolutely essential for them.
But hey, the most powerful resource a country has isn't water, and it definitely isn't coal. It's human resources. Think of investing in education like leveling up your video game character. When a country spends money to educate its people and give workers advanced skills, they can build incredibly productive, vibrant cities, just like this one in Seoul, South Korea. Their mixed economy is absolutely booming, and a huge part of that is because their people are highly educated and skilled.
Part 4. Two Koreas, two economies.
Okay, look at this massive wide road in North Korea. Notice anything missing? Where are all the cars? There's basically no traffic at all. This is actually a really clear visual sign of a struggling command economy. Ordinary people just can't easily go out and start businesses or buy everyday goods like cars.
So why exactly is their economy so weak? Well, it all comes down to choices. The North Korean government invests heavily in its military and nuclear weapons, rather than in everyday businesses. Because of this, the international community has placed sanctions on them. Sanctions are basically actions that limit a country's ability to trade. Since they can't trade easily and their factories aren't super productive, many citizens tragically suffer from malnutrition, which is a serious lack of nutrients from food. It's a really difficult situation, driven directly by the government's strict command rules.
Section 5. Japan and trade power.
Now, Japan is super interesting because they don't have much coal, iron, or even land for farming. So how in the world did they get so rich? The secret sauce is trade and human resources. Japan completely overcame its lack of natural resources by trading globally and investing heavily in an educated workforce. Because their workers are so highly trained, remember that video game level up, they can build incredibly advanced technology like this high-tech welding robot. They basically import the basic materials, use their smarts to build amazing high-value products, and then sell them to the rest of the world. It's a real game changer.
And finally, Section 6, the big takeaways.
All right, let's wrap this explainer up. Here's what you really need to remember from our trip today. First, government rules completely shape a citizen's daily life. Second, whether a country uses a command economy, like that strict cafeteria, or a mixed economy, like the free food court, really determines your daily choices. Third, education, or human resources, is hands down the best investment a country can make. And lastly, smart trade can absolutely overcome a lack of natural resources. The rules a country chooses completely shape the success of its people. So, after seeing all these real-world examples, which system would you want to live under? Keep that question in mind as you head out today. Thanks for hanging out with me, class, and keep learning.